Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event? European Space Agency, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is ESA PAO from the Excel in London. How do you hear me?
And London, UK, Elena, good morning. I hear you loud and clear.
Perfect. Great to see you in great shape. There's a very huge live and alive audience here, so I'll just leave the word now to the conductors of the event, Libby and Craig. Enjoy the event.
Paolo, welcome to London. It's great to have you with us today. Please tell us that's not the actual planet Earth. We got a problem, Houston.
Absolutely no problem. I have a little plastic Earth here flying with me, but I can tell you that looking at the Earth from the window, the Earth looks magnificent as usual.
Paolo, how are you? How is your mission going? And what are you doing today? I can see your schedule on your knee there. So what's planned?
Libby, good morning. Actually, we'll say good afternoon, probably. Yes, it's going pretty good. It's been very busy so far. I mean, our schedule is kind of extremely busy. We had a cargo vessel that we loaded up, SpaceX. We loaded up a week ago, and it was a murder, and putting everything together, it was very interesting, very, very strong. And then now we are preparing for the spacewalks that will take place in the next 10 days. So again, we are very, very busy. And on top of this, we carry out, as usual, our good complement of experiments, science. We are growing vegetables. We have all sorts of things happening up here. It's very, very, very good.
Paolo, what area of the space station are you in at the moment? And also talk to us about your use of technology, your use of robots, and your reliance on robots when you're up in the space station.
Yes, I'm talking here from the Columbus laboratory. Space station is essentially composed of laboratories. There is a Japanese laboratory, there is a U.S. laboratory, and this is the Columbus, the European laboratory built by the European Space Agency. We have all sorts of facilities here that allow us to do experiments on the life science, on the metallurgy science. I mean, we have all sorts of things, and it's a little bit chaotic, as you can see, but it's very, very efficient. Also because we can work in 3D. You know, we can go up on the ceiling here and be working here like a vampire, but it makes no difference here in space. And yes, so this is what we are doing here.
All the science experiments that you're doing, how are they going to help us back here down on Earth?
Well, Libby, you know, as you know, microgravity, it's a very interesting conditions that we cannot have on Earth. At least we cannot have it for longer than few seconds on Earth. And here we can have it for extremely long period. And this allow us to see all sorts of things that we cannot see on Earth, and do all sorts of research and understand little things that gravity, with its all strength, is masking. So with all these forces or little things are apparent here, and all the research that we do here, all the technological things are essentially made so that we understand better, our knowledge gets further, and we bring back things to Earth. You know, the technology that we use here in space eventually ends up in everybody washing machine, in everybody cars. And I'm sorry, before we're talking about robots, and I forgot about that, we are experimenting with robots here all the places. You know, we humans do a lot of things very complicated, but when we are talking about repetitive tasks, doing the same thing 500 times, we tend to make mistakes. We tend to not to think about it. And robots instead are really, really good. So we are doing all sorts of things. And the other day, for example, I was telecommanding a robot in Munich, imitating what a crew would do on orbit around Mars, having this robot working on the surface of Mars. This allows us to understand all sorts of things in terms of telecontrolling, telerobotics, and advance our knowledge in that field.
Paolo, we're live here in London, but they're watching around the world. I know they're watching the Republic of Ireland as well. I have a question sent in from Wesley College in Dublin, and they are very keen to know what happens. They're very keen to know what happens if you get injured. Are you all trained medics, and how quickly can you get back to Earth in case of emergency?
Well, we are all the astronauts are trained as medical officers in a certain way. I'm an engineer, but I was thrown in a hospital to do some training, so each one of us can do a first aid, and we have all sorts of equipment here that you can find in a first aid in a hospital, actually. But in case of real serious problem, something that we cannot handle up here, then we take the whole crew, 3 people, we go back in our vehicle, in our Soyuz vehicle, the vehicle that carried us up here. We can jump in there, detach from the station, return to Earth, and in a matter of 4 or 5 hours, we are back to Earth, and where we can get all aids that we need.
Astonishing, it really is. Paolo, of course, you're one of our special guests, but I'm sorry to tell you, not the most important guest today, because we have 5 competition winners who entered the competition and have won the right to ask you a question. So would you please welcome up on stage Anushka, Eleni, Laura, Mary, and Verity.
Hey.
Now, Anushka.
Congratulations to the winner.
Well, Anushka is going to speak to you first. So what's your question for Paolo, Anushka?
Hi, Paolo.
Anushka, you need to speak louder. Space station is in space.
You better shout up to him, Anushka.
What's the scariest experience you've encountered during your missions into space?
The scariest experience you've had, Paolo?
And I'm sorry, Craig, I missed the first one. Which type of experience?
I think you're having it now. The scariest experience you've had in space, Paolo, on your 3 missions. The scariest, most terrifying, nerve-wracking experience you've had in space.
Now I got it. Yeah, well, I'm scared when I don't understand the questions, and then I have to repeat it 3 times. But to tell you the truth, I mean, the scariest part of all being an astronaut is sometimes in training, because you get to do things in training that are out of this world, and the instructor throws at you all sorts of crazy things, and you think you cannot do it, and then eventually you learn that with the training, with the equipment, with the team, with mission control helping you, essentially you can do essentially everything. And I have to tell you the truth, with 3 missions in space, I haven't been in a situation where I was scared. I never found a situation where I didn't know what I was doing, or I didn't know what was happening around me, because the training is really good, and I hope it stays like this, by the way.
So we have another question from Verity that follows on really well from that.
What made you take the huge risk of going into space?
And I'm sorry, I copy. What make you something going into space? Say again, please.
What made you take the huge risk of going into space?
Well, being an astronaut, going to space was my dream when I was a kid, and dream when you're a kid kind of strange. But then when I grew up, I realized that, well, I had the capability, the inclination, the technical mind, and so I pursued this career, and it's something that I like. It's I would say it's my passion, and I'm fortunate that I'm able to do as a job what is my passion. And I'm so fortunate, and I'm hoping that in the future will be the same situation for you too.
Now, Laura has a great question for you, Paolo, nice and slowly and clearly. Yeah.
You first went into space 10 years ago. Can you notice a change in the way Earth looks now? Is it more lit up?
Laura, thank you for the question. Yes, I flew just about 10 years ago the first time, and it was on the space shuttle on a mission to build the International Space Station. It was a very short mission, and at that time, very short, 15 days was a long mission for the shuttle, but a short compared to the 6 months plus missions that we do these days. I think we were focusing at that time on technology, on building the station, on going to space, and today we are focusing our attention on being in space, living in space for long duration, having a crew that lives together, including the crew that is on the ground, extremely important to make sure that everything works together. And our focus is actually on science, on technology, on research. Most of our time is now spent on actually working here instead of building this station.
Mary's got us another question to follow on. It's brilliant.
Good afternoon, Paolo. What do you feel would be the most revolutionary change in space exploration in the next 20 years, given the superb success of Voyager, Rosetta, and the Cassini missions recently?
Well, there are many things that we can do in space that are going to be revolutionary. If we think in terms of the sizes of the universe, we understand that we know very little, and we really did not go that far out of this planet. It was a very important step to go out of the planet, but now we need to continue our exploration. And this is, of course, through our robots, our satellites, with all the missions far away. But eventually, one of the most important steps will be continuing the exploration and land a human being on Mars, and eventually establish a settlement there and understanding what it means living permanently on a planet outside the Earth. I think that would change our mind, will make us understanding a little bit better about the universe and what is around us.
Eleni. It is Eleni, isn't it? Eleni has a question for you now. Eleni.
Hi, Paolo. Aboard the ISS, what happens to your senses, and how does this affect your life on the ISS?
Eleni, that's a very interesting question. It takes about 5 to 6 weeks before you come on orbit, and you understand that you need to behave like an extraterrestrial person, and you can work in this situation and it's okay, nothing is happening. It's the same thing, and you don't need to work anymore on the local vertical established by the gravity. You make your own vertical, and that's really interesting. It makes for a very strong change of mind. And of course the senses behave differently. This is somehow an artificial place, so smell is kind of different, touch is different. I think the skin behaves differently, the fluid in the body works differently, even the internal organs inside us move differently, and these are something that takes quite some time to get used to it, but when you get used to it, it's incredible. I mean, you feel so light. You feel like Superman. You feel like Spider-Man. You want to fly at the end of the module, you just fly at the end of the module. You want to come back, you just push and come back. And it's incredible and super, and I'm looking forward for everybody to experience this one.
Hello, I think you'll agree there are great questions from Anushka, Eleni, Laura, Mary, and Verity. Thank you so much for joining us on stage today. Thank you so much. Well done. Well done. Well done. Paolo, you see a sunrise every 92 minutes. Do you try and watch every single one? Do you still get blown away by sunrises?
Well, yes, sunrises, sunsets are spectacular. I don't have time to watch every single one. I usually in the evening after, when I'm supposed to sleep, by the way, I just go to the window to our cupola, and I get to see at least one sunrise and one sunset. And by the way, these days we have incredible auroras. In my previous mission, I barely saw a couple, and here every night, every time it's dark, we have aurora in the North Pole and the South Pole. It's incredible, and I just marvel at this Earth, and I'm taking pictures, I'm taking time lapses, and I'm sending down on Earth to social media to make everybody be part of this incredible scenery that we can have up here.
Paolo, obviously you miss all your friends and family out there. You've got to spend 6 months in space, but what else are you missing from back here on Earth?
Yes, friends, family, very important. Yeah, we are human beings. We are social animals, and I miss the people around me. Space station, it's a very fast pace. We start around 7:30 in the morning, and we are on duty until like 8 o'clock in the evening. And that's official duty, and we still are on duty after that. Saturday and Sundays there's sometimes a little bit of free time, but I missed, being able to relax completely. I miss the food a little bit, because here the food is all prepared and pre-conditioned. I miss going around with people, go out for a pizza. I miss actually talking to people and talking about space to people. But all of this, I'm looking forward for all of this when I will come back to Earth in a few months.
Tell us about your most amazing experience to date in space.
Well, I had many amazing experiences, to be honest. I was doing one of the experiments here the other day, and I was looking at what was happening inside this experiment, and it was just amazing to look at how things behave completely. I would not have thought that things would behave in that way. Of course, this is interesting, incredible. The view of the Earth is incredible. I already mentioned that we have some spectacular auroras in the evening, and that's it. I mean, it's amazing the fact that we can be here out in space and feel human. Actually, it's very incredible how we feel more human when we are out of the Earth, and we miss Earth when we are out of the Earth. So this is really amazing and good.
Paolo, I know we're running out of time and you've got a busy schedule to get back to, but I think everybody here would like just one last demonstration of what it means for you in microgravity. What can you do up there?
We can do a lot of all sorts of strange things, like float some water. I don't know. It's even difficult to see. Float some water and then catch it in midair. So you don't need a glass here in space. You can flip around. I already did. You can do a somersault and not hurt yourself most of the time, because you can end up hitting your head if you're not careful. But the most incredible things is that we can actually work here, and the science and research that we do here, it's essential, in my opinion, to further our knowledge. This is the most incredible thing.
Yeah, I wish you could see the faces here, young and old, an absolute awe of you. We've got about 20 seconds left. Do you have one last message to us here on planet Earth before you leave us?
Well, yes, I would like to say that, first of all, planet Earth is extremely beautiful, but we see from space how far we have gone as human beings in changing it, and we need to be careful on what we are doing to it. And then I would tell to the people there, especially to the young people there, that you need to look at your passions inside and try to make that happen. Work for it, because this will bring you to a successful life in the future. And if you allow me, I know that at the Italian Space Agency in Rome, they're also looking at this. I would like to say hello to them, to everybody at the Italian Space Agency. Buongiorno, ciao. And to everybody, we're looking forward to coming back to Earth and talk to you in person and have more time to share with you this incredible experience of being out of the Earth.
Thank you for sharing your very special life with us, Paolo. From everyone here in London to the space station and to yourself, grazie mille, ciao. Give him a big round of applause. Thank you, Paolo.
Craig Libby from the International Space Station, London, from the International Space Station, thank you for watching us, and looking forward to watching you flying around the Earth. Bye-bye, ciao.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event.
And thank you to all participants with the European Space Agency. We are now resuming operational audio communications.
And I also put all of the items that will need to be used as a priority first. We can use them at the earliest convenience. But we're still working on IMS updates. For the hygiene wipes, I haven't been able to get into everything yet, but I do have maybe a couple more panels to inspect, but I don't expect to find any more hygiene wipes there. So I'm pretty sure we're done with the hygiene wipe update copy. And Sergey, you also reported that you found 4 bags over the weekend that with the wet wipes. Their expiration date was in January of 2017. They were listed as missing or lost in our IMS records. I understand that you've transferred them to MRM, but you can discard them. Yeah, actually, we decided that we are going to keep them here. We just use, or will be able to use more wipes, and we just don't want to discard anything that could still be useful. We use wet wipes for surface cleaning. There were some other wipes that hadn't reached their expiration date quite yet. So we're keeping those also for future use. Okay, thank you for letting me know. Then, Sergey, I don't really have any other questions for you. I just wanted to find out if you have any other questions for me. No, here's Alexander. Alexander, do you have any questions? No, I have no questions for you, but I'm ready to listen to what you have to say to me. Yeah, the interaction kit number 16, it's still shown to be in Soyuz, but you were supposed to use it on the 27th, and you were supposed to stow it in your crew quarter. Yeah, and my orbital compartment, I took container number 1 and wrapped it up with Scotch tape. So it's still in the orbital module of your Soyuz vehicle? Yes, that's right. Okay, then I'll make that update in the IMS. It's still in your orbital module. Yeah, I don't think it's a matter of principle, Alisa, because those kits are individual. So I know where my individual interaction payload kit is. And so nobody is going to be taking it other than me. Yeah, I'm just saying it's more of an information for us to keep a record of it so that we understand where it's located, just in case you forget. Okay. Another thing, Alexander, I was looking through my records today. Your Soyuz vehicle still shows food containers and second containers with fresh. So 2 containers with fresh produce. I realize that you probably already moved them. Yes, of course. We already ate those, and you can move the empty containers into Progress vehicle. Okay, and also if you could check the IMS over the weekend, just make sure that everything matches the actual physical locations of all the items in your Soyuz vehicle. Maybe just if you omitted something or forgot to mention something, just go through all the updates, make sure that they match the actual physical locations of those items, because we're going to be writing a report and we need to know where everything is. You know, Alisa, I really don't need anything other than the fresh produce that we already consumed, that we already took out of Soyuz. Everything else is still stowed in Soyuz until it's